military analysis. China-Taiwan invasion scenario introduction. The question of a potential Chinese invasion of Taiwan involves complex military, political, and geographical considerations. This analysis examines the military challenges involved in such an operation, potential U.S. responses, and the broader strategic implications. I'll draw on assessments from military analysts, think tanks, and strategic studies to provide a comprehensive overview. The military challenge of invading Taiwan. Taiwan presents a formidable invasion target despite its proximity to mainland China. Military analysts consistently identify several major obstacles. Geographic difficulties. Taiwan is approximately 100 miles from mainland China across the Taiwan Strait, which creates significant logistical challenges. The Defense Department's 2021 report on Chinese military capabilities notes that the Taiwan Strait's unpredictable weather and sea conditions create a narrow window of viable invasion times, typically April, May, and October. According to Rand Corporation analysis, there are only 14 beaches on Taiwan's western coast suitable for amphibious landings, and these would be heavily defended. The eastern coast faces the Pacific Ocean and features steep cliffs, making it largely unsuitable for landing operations. Amphibious assault requirements. A successful invasion would require one of the largest amphibious operations in military history. The U.S. Naval War College estimates China would need to transport at least 300,000 troops across the strait to establish a viable foothold. Ian Easton, author of The Chinese Invasion Threat, suggests China would need approximately 1020 landing ships to transport the necessary troops, equipment, and supply. China's current naval inventory, while growing, falls short of this requirement. Air and naval superiority requirements. Before attempting an amphibious assault, China would need to achieve both air and naval superiority. According to assessments from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, this would require 1. Neutralizing Taiwan's air defenses and fighter aircraft, 2. Establishing control of the waters around Taiwan, 3. Maintaining supply lines across the strait under potential attack. Taiwan's air defenses include Patriot missile batteries and indigenous systems specifically designed to counter the threat from mainland China. Taiwan's defensive preparations. Taiwan has designed its military doctrine specifically to counter an invasion attempt, porcupine strategy. Taiwan has adopted what analysts often call a porcupine strategy, making itself a difficult target to swallow. This includes hardened military installations built into mountains, extensive tunnel networks for military mobility, positioned supplies and ammunition in defensive positions, training specifically focused on coastal defense and urban warfare. The Rand Corporation's Taiwan's Defense Strategy at a Crossroads report notes that Taiwan has been investing in asymmetric capabilities designed to exploit weaknesses in a larger attacker's forces, military readiness. Taiwan maintains approximately 175,000 active duty personnel and 1.5 million reservists. The island has been increasing defense spending, with a particular focus on anti-ship missiles, mobile air defense systems, and mines, all designed to make an amphibious assault as costly as possible. Potential U.S. military response. If China were to attempt an invasion of Taiwan, the United States would face critical decisions about its military response. Current U.S. policy toward Taiwan is governed by the Taiwan Relations Act, which states that the United States will consider any effort to determine the future of Taiwan by other than peaceful means, including by boycotts or embargoes, a threat to the peace and security of the Western Pacific area and of grave concern to the United States. While not explicitly committing to Taiwan's defense, this strategic ambiguity policy is designed to deter Chinese aggression while avoiding direct promises of intervention. Military response options, according to war games conducted by the Center for Strategic and International Studies and the Pentagon, U.S. military response options would likely include 1. Forward defense, deploying naval and air assets to directly engage Chinese invasion forces 2. Distant. Blockade, cutting off Chinese maritime trade through control of key choke points 3. Limited. Direct support, providing intelligence, ammunition, and supplies to Taiwan's forces 4. full military intervention, committing significant forces to defeat the invasion attempt. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command would be the primary organization responsible for executing any military response. Their assets would potentially include carrier strike groups from the U.S. 7th Fleet Air Forces operating from bases in Japan, Guam, and potentially the Philippines, submarine forces already deployed in the Western Pacific, Marine expeditionary units that could reinforce Taiwan's defenders. Timeframe challenges. Military analysts from the Naval War College and RAND Corporation have emphasized the critical importance of response time. China would likely attempt to achieve its objectives before significant U.S. forces could arrive. Studies suggest the U.S. would need at least 23 weeks to fully deploy its forces to the region, creating what strategists call a potential intervention gap. Broader strategic implications. Any U.S.-China military confrontation over Taiwan would carry enormous strategic risks. Escalation risks. According to the Council on Foreign Relations 2021 report, territorial disputes in the South China Sea, there would be significant risk of escalation in any direct U.S.-China conflict. Both nations possess nuclear weapons, and military planners would need to carefully manage operations to avoid triggering broader escalation. Regional allies, Japan, Australia, and potentially other regional partners might become involved. Japan hosts significant U.S. forces and has increasingly signaled concern about Taiwan's security situation. Former Japanese Deputy Prime Minister Taro Aso stated in 2021 that Japan would consider a Taiwan emergency as a direct threat to its security. Expert assessments on likelihood. Military and strategic analysts differ on the likelihood of a Chinese invasion attempt. Admiral Phil Davidson, former head of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, testified to Congress in 2021 that China might attempt to take Taiwan in the next 6 years. Other analysts suggest a longer time frame, or that China might prefer other methods of achieving unification. The Office of Naval Intelligence Assessment is that China continues to build capabilities specifically designed for a Taiwan contingency, but that doesn't necessarily indicate imminent intent to invade. Conclusion: military analysis suggests that while China has been building capabilities aimed at a Taiwan contingency, an invasion would still present enormous military challenges and risks. The U.S. response would likely be substantial but would face significant time and distance challenges. This creates a complex strategic environment where deterrence, capability development, and crisis management all play critical roles.